why they took your mother. That's why they want you.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at the 10 most underappreciated characters from PlayStation history.
20,000? What are you, some kind of hunter?
Pretty much.
Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Fetch, infamous First Light.
Those breaks from reality changed me. I'd wake up with new powers. It was like my body decided to fight, but my mind just gave up.
When Infamous First Light dropped, Sony and Sucker Punch reached a crossroad that could have changed the IP's future. After spending a couple of games with Cole McGrath and one with the lackluster protagonist of Second Son, Delson Rowe, fans were wanting Sucker Punch to continue the franchise with Fetch.
You know, Brett never told me that his sister was such a pretty little thing.
Please, just tell me where to look.
Her story of struggling with addiction and her undying bond with her brother made Infamous much more grounded than any other game in the series. People loved First Light despite it being significantly shorter than the main games. Unfortunately, Sony and Sucker Punch opted to move to other endeavors. Sure, it was great to have gotten a game like Ghost of Tsushima, but still, couldn't we have gotten one more game for Fetch? At least we got to see her represented in Astrobot.
No. No. Do not use your powers.
I'm not gonna kill anyone, just carry my weight.
Selene, Returnal.
I've crashed on Atropos. I survived, but Helios did not.
A common complaint we've been seeing in the PlayStation community is how the PS5 has no games to play. Sounds like not enough people have given Returnal a fair shot. Admittedly, we've criticized the game a couple of times in the past due to how awful the launch was in 2021. So many consoles suffered enigmatic issues because of this game, but those have long been remedied now. Today, you absolutely owe it to yourself to play Returnal. Not only does it have some of the most exceptional combat ever made for a bullet hell, Selene's story is among the best that the PlayStation Studios family has ever told, with its heavy subject matter.
It is parasitically attached to my arm. Does not appear hostile.
From the mysterious planets crawling with vicious aliens to the disturbing presence of the astronaut, Selene's journey has cemented herself as one of the most memorable heroines of the PlayStation family, and it's a shame that few seem to be talking about this game. Jimmy, Ape Escape 2.
Natsumi! I sent the professor's stuff, okay?
When talking about the Ape Escape franchise, almost everybody gravitates towards Spike. Yes, Spike is the face of the franchise, but why do we always leave Cousin Jimmy out of the conversation? Even though he shares a lot of the same gadgets as Spike, Jimmy gets to utilize 3 new gadgets with distinct features.
What? Why me?
Okay, in all honesty, the water cannon isn't all that impressive, and the electromagnet is, well, it's neat, but the banana rang, that gadget alone made capturing monkeys so much easier. That alone should count for something, right? Alas, not in the eyes of this fanbase.
Isn't it cool? Just like Pipochi's. Oh!
Dollface, Twisted Metal series.
My name is Krista Sparks. Maybe you've heard of me. I'm going to be the world's most famous supermodel.
While Sweet Tooth is always front and center for this franchise, we often forget that Twisted Metal has another compelling character with a fascinating story. Unfortunately, Dollface's potential has been largely ignored by Sony. What we have here is someone just as psychotic as Sweet Tooth, though her ambitions are different.
6 days. The doctor promised I would be beautiful again.
Regardless if you prefer the Black or 2012 version of the character, both Dollface stories involve issues with self-image in unique ways. One ties into the self-inflicted harm stemming from constant doubt and blame, while the other goes in a drastically different direction with the disastrous drive for perfection and ultimate beauty. Given how most PlayStation first-party games strive to tell real stories, You would think Sony would go to their mystical well of old IPs for Dollface's story alone, which we all know Sony doesn't really like to do that unless it's God of War or Ratchet & Clank.
I used to be so beautiful.
Erica Mason. Erica.
Will I find? If you don't look, you'll never know.
Shockingly, Erica is one of the few games that Sony themselves gave almost no attention to. Developed by Flavorworks alongside London Studio, Erica was an FMV game about a young woman who uncovers the dark truths about her family. What follows are a series of unfortunate events involving lies, deceit, and disturbing occult rituals. Both the game and character Erica are shrouded in mystery at every turn until the very end, and her story is told in such a captivating way that you'll want to go for a second or even a third playthrough.
It's right there in front of you.
Sadly, Sony gave it almost no marketing even though one of their own studios co-developed the game, which is a shame given how it fills the horror void left behind by Until Dawn and Siren. And now, London Studio is no more, so we're not getting another one of those. Biff and Gary, ModNation Racers.
The toughest tracks and racers yet. Fame, Iceman, Scout. It's mayhem, destruction, a racing world war!
On a more light-hearted note, two PlayStation characters that are frequently forgotten about are legendary motorsports commentators Biff Treadwell and Gary Reasons. These two were the bread and butter of ModNation Racers' story, and they were freaking hilarious.
It's called hyperboil, Gary. Exaggeration for effect.
I think you mean hyperbole.
Throughout the entire campaign, Biff relentlessly mocks and ridicules Gary on live television in the most childish ways, and it gets funnier every single race. Admittedly, we do feel bad for Gary because the poor guy just wants to enjoy the action and entertainment of kart racing, but he does get Biff in the end in the most humiliating way possible. If only modern PlayStation embraced a more comedic and lighthearted side like this. Emmett Graves, Starhawk.
Some things never fade away. They make you who you are.
Emmett!
Now, we're not about to sit here and tell you just how deep and meaningful and impacting Emmett's story is in Starhawk. Yes, Starhawk does have a thrilling campaign and everything. However, that's not the reason why we like Emmett. We actually adore him for the same reason as we like Jimmy from Ape Escape 2. It isn't just because he's a badass character, it's because he's a badass character doing badass things like dropping buildings from the flippin' sky like a badass. Look, we can be fanboys about dudes swinging chain blades around, or using weapons that harness the power of belching frogs. That's all fine and dandy, but when you see somebody like Emmett dropping factories, science labs, and houses on dudes, we want to see more, damn it. Give us Starhawk 2, Sony.
Use the control panels on the back.
Jaster Rogue Galaxy.
I'm gonna find my way out of here. I swear it.
Getting back into characters with more weight on narrative, Jaster Rogue is another PlayStation character that has spent way too much time proverbially collecting dust on Sony's shelf. At the time of launch, critics were pretty quick to throw Jaster and his story under the bus. Sure, Rogue Galaxy is nowhere near as magnificent as some of the Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy games, but the simplicity of Jaster's adventure is why Rogue Galaxy resonates with the few who have played it.
You got a real name or something, huh?
Huh? Oh yeah. I'm Jaster. Jaster Rogue.
There is something special about experiencing the humble beginnings of a character and their lead up to becoming the hero of their world. And if that really isn't good enough, then maybe it wouldn't hurt for Sony to give Level 5 another shot and greenlight a Rogue Galaxy 2 to show another side of Jaster. And also give him a proper ending. Come on, what's that ending? Really? You're just gonna give us a cliffhanger?
And that's why I'm going into space.
Cat, Gravity Rush series. A common narrative theme across PlayStation first-party games is the concept of being outcasted, the outlier going against the grain or being largely forgotten for obtuse reasons. From Kratos to Sly to just about every other PlayStation IP who have had time in the spotlight, Cat was widely forgotten about by almost everybody. In addition to the similar narrative as other PlayStation characters, Gravity Rush gave Cat gravity-defying powers that opened the door for Japan Studio to create incredible levels. Sadly, her story went unnoticed by hardcore PlayStation fans. The first game only sold a couple 100,000 copies, while the sequel barely met half of that amount. Here's hoping that that rumored animated movie revives Cat in some way. A lot of you guys out there went and ignored her. Repent! And lastly, Sir Daniel Fortesque, MediEvil series.
Hey! Easy, my friend.
Poor Sir Daniel Fortesque has never been given a fair shot by Sony. Ever. Not once. Anytime MediEvil manages to get a new game, it has always been a remake of the 1998 original. Not that the original game is awful, if anything, it boasts the better story between the original two games. This is a game about a knight who was revered for a war where he was the first to die in battle. It's hilarious.
It has risen again! Sir Daniel Fortesque, see?
You can pull all kinds of different narrative threads from that concept alone, and the story still doesn't have to be dead serious. Few PlayStation characters boast that level of malleability in their story, but for some reason, Sony just doesn't see that, and they keep giving the series minimal funding and marketing. Just look at the 2019 remake, and how we just started talking about PS5 that month, right before the game came out, and then nobody bought it. But aside from my bitterness towards Sony and how they treat MediEvil, which PlayStation character do you feel is underrated? Did they make our list? Let us know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great videos every day. And again, bring back Starhawk, and bring back MediEvil.
But we knows better.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.